December 16th, 2024. I just stepped into the edge of the field and look at this little beauty laying here. Heat treated fossiliferous chert, Harrodsburg chert. Not sure exactly what type this is. I've not found anything like this in this site before. And I can't tell through the foam, but yeah, just a neat, nice little point. Okay, it's December 26, 2024. Jacob and I went out. The conditions are horrible still this year. And we thought maybe conditions would be better than they were. So we found almost nothing, but we found a couple just incredible killers that I wanted to show you. This piece, made out of maul draw chert, I thought was a broken tip off a point, but then once I pulled it out of the ground and looked, it's been reworked on this end. So I think that is what it was. It's a big long point, and they snapped the base off and reworked this end of it to make it a tool that they could use. I got one other point tip out of Wyandotte chert or hornstone. And then the other two pieces, Jacob found this McCorkle. This thing is, the video and pictures don't do it justice. This thing is beautiful material. I think it's Sonora. Could be hornstone, but I think it's Sonora with the different colorations in it. But it's just got one barb off of one shoulder. It's heavily ground around the base. This thing is thin, just super thin. This would have been, it's heavily serrated. This would have just been an exquisite point if it was whole. This is a heck of a find, even being nicked like that. Super color, super craftsmanship. Fantastic point that Jacob found. And then I did not get this on video, but this is a fluted. See how it's got that flute on it? This is a fluted tube banner. And I thought I had about half the banner when I found it. But if you look, I mean, here's the other end of it. You can see this is the end of the banner. So they just knocked a tiny little bit off the very end of it. So it's 90% of the way there. It's almost there. It's not a very big banner. And then it looks like they took a little bitty chunk out of here. They didn't drill it evenly, so you can see it's a lot thicker down here towards this side, and it gets thinner up there. So just a really cool fluted tube banner. Then you can see, if I can get this right, you can see the drilling, see the lines inside there. Like I said, there's still some mud in it. I didn't get it completely cleaned out yet, but you can see where they drilled it. The coolest part, I got looking at it, and they have like etched some designs in here. I have no idea what these designs, what the symbolism is in these designs, but you can see they're kind of like ridges. I know some people are automatically thinking teepees, but this isn't the Great Plains in 1850 or 1860. This is Indiana in 3500 BC. So these people were not living in teepees. So I'm trying to figure out, is it like waves in the water? Is it teeth of some kind? Is it just symbolism for something abstract that we don't know what it is? I have no idea what they're trying to depict with all this inscribing in here. You see down there, it almost looks like lettering. It almost looks like actual letters that somebody scratched into it, but they're not. It's just coincidental. And then this almost looks like a figure right here. But some of the lines are just random. Anyway, I've never found anything quite like, you see some of the scratch lines go all the way around that side, but that's obviously and absolutely deliberate. That is not stuff that just happens randomly in nature. So I don't know. This is the first time I've actually looked at it closely, so that's why I'm kind of talking slowly, because I'm trying to make sense of it as I look at it. But anyway, just blown away. And on one of the most unlikely days and unlikely sites, and that's why you never want to give up. You want to go out there and hunt as much as you can if you do have a passion for this, because you just never know when a good one's going to pop up. This McCorkle point is from the early Archaic period, so that is like 6,000 to 8,000 BC. So this is a very, very old point, and being serrated and this broad, this was probably used as a knife blade. So you can see this just like a serrated steak knife or something. It's just a really nice serrated knife, but very, very old. And the other piece, the Bannerstone, this would have been from about, it could be middle or late Archaic. So middle Archaic's like 6,000 to 4,000 BC, late Archaic's 4,000 to 1,000 BC. So somewhere in that range, it's probably 4,000 or 5,000 years old. And what a Bannerstone is, Most people accept them as being a weight on a spear thrower called an atlatl or atlatl. This is a replica. I made one, so it had an antler hook on one end, and then there's your Bannerstone. That's a different style. And then antler handle in some cases on the other end. And this was just used, you would hook your spear, the back end of your spear into that, and you use this as a spear thrower. Variations of this were used in various cultures. They were used in Mesoamerica, Australia, up north near the Arctic Circle, and throughout the world. They preceded the bow and arrow. People came up with spear throwers before they came up with bows and arrows. So this, they have found in several archaeological sites, they found the hook, the Bannerstone, and the handle with a dark stain between them where the wood had rotted away. So that's why they're generally accepted as atlatl weights. And the purpose of them is debatable. Some people think it's a silencer. Some people think it's a counterbalance. So when you're holding your spear up for a long time, it doesn't get as heavy. Other people think they're purely symbolic. And it's one of those things in archaeology we will never know. Maybe a combination of all of those things or some other purposes we haven't even thought of. And some people debate whether they're even used as spear thrower weights. Now, obviously, some of them have been found on spear throwers, but you have to question, were those spear throwers used in everyday use, or were they just ceremonially placed with the people in burials, or were they just spear throwers that you used on special occasions, but you didn't actually take out hunting? Because some Bannerstones that are very fragile, obviously this one I just found is, because it's broken. And, there's some debate as to whether they were used as spear throwers at all, on spear throwers at all. But because so many of them have been found on atlatls like that, it's pretty good case. At least some of them were used on spear throwers. Now, whether they're used in day-to-day use or whether they're symbolic or, whether they actually had a functional purpose, that's totally debatable. And lots of people have done experiments and tried to prove their theories. But, with archaeology, there's no way of knowing for sure if any of these theories are true because we can't go back in time. So you might do a great experiment using that as a counterbalance or using it to give you more leverage or using it to cut the sand or whatever thing that you think they're used for, and it might work, but that doesn't mean that's why the prehistoric Indians used them that way. They may have used them for some totally different purpose. But anyway, that's what a Bannerstone is. Probably an atlatl weight, could have been just something symbolic, or could have been a tool with a totally different purpose that in our modern society we have totally lost track of, and we have no idea what they're really used for, but that's what they are. So just to in case any of you are unfamiliar with what these artifacts are, I just thought I would give you a little more information on each one of them. This is a whole different level of personal to have it inscribed like this. When there were no written languages prehistorically, and when cave paintings and petroglyphs are fairly uncommon in most areas. And then to have something where someone actually pictorially represented something on a piece of stone like that, that is exceedingly rare. You just wonder what the person was thinking and what this meant to him. But to find any kind of drawing or writing that goes back 5,000 or 6,000 years is just incredible. It's a very rare thing. So this piece is really special to me because it's a connection I've made with somebody thousands of years ago, and I wish I knew what it meant. I wish I was smart enough to interpret its meaning, but I do know it's special. Now, I have to think this piece came to me for a reason. The site where I found it, there were thousands, hundreds of thousands of rocks that this blended right in with, and for whatever reason the hole was facing me, which if you look at any videos where anybody's found Bannerstones, that's almost never the case. You almost never know if the hole goes all the way through or if there even is a hole in one. If it's just a preform until you clean the dirt off of it. And this is kind of what I saw laying on the ground. Never even registered to me that it could be a Bannerstone. I just thought it was something modern. I was like, that looks like a rock with a hole in it. But it just, even though the Bannerstone is like the pinnacle of what people hunt for, I wasn't expecting it. It's so rare and so uncommon that I just, and especially since it wasn't the greatest sight, I just wasn't expecting it. But out of all those rocks, and I just happened to walk in the right place, and this was hard to find. It was in some weeds and debris, and that I stumbled up on this. I feel like I was meant to find it. And I'm just fascinated by what this was and what it meant to the person that made it. And feel really lucky to have been the one to find it and pick it up before it, as you can see, it's already been broken a couple different places. I'm sure it wouldn't have lasted much longer till it got broken even worse and would have been unrecognizable as being anything. It would have been just little bitty fragments. So thank goodness I got in there when I did. Just wanted to share it with you.